Hello, this is Child-Free Diane, and I'm going to do a Father's Day video in the cemetery. And I was going to do, I was figuring out where I'm going to do my video today, and I just kept pondering different locations, and I thought, well, why not do a cemetery? Because every father's child will suffer, catch disease, age, and die. Unfortunately, this particular church and cemetery is across from a couple of shelters, and they are celebrating Father's Day, and there's some boys in the parking lot throwing balls and making noise. So there blows my chance to sit under a shade tree and do my video. So I'm just going to have to just walk around to get away from the noise and the chaos, the breeder chaos. Come on, girl. Come on, let's just find a place. And yeah, the title of today's video is going to be Happy Sperm Donor Day. So, look at that girl. She must have found some deer poop or something. You silly girl. But some of the cemeteries, the really old ones, are actually closed, or either they close early. So, since this one is at a church grounds, it's just open. It's all the time. Oh, these are really old. I haven't even been back here. I did a video here a year or two ago, maybe 2 years. And when I was doing the video, I was lucky enough that a live skunk crossed my path. Yeah, so these are pretty old. I wish I could read it well, but it looked like that one was 1888. I can't read the rest. It's certainly old for American standards, huh? So I have to apologize for the hooting and hollering. Those boys in the distance are playing some kind of ball. You can see them over there. Anyway. It's nice and quiet over here, though. There's a lot of wooded areas. I am in actually a park. This church is actually located in a park. So I'm going to show a little bit more of the cemetery after my video. I was going to do this video much earlier, but I kept composing more additional content. And so I think I did a pretty good job on this particular video talk. Wow, this is just beautiful. I have never been back here. Look how beautiful this is. There's actually probably some walking trails over there because I see some people. I should get out more and take the dogs. It's just that the weather is pretty humid. It's 92 degrees Fahrenheit today. And it's humid, but it's not grossly humid. At least it's like very shady here. We have had a lot of rain this season, so everything is bright green. I usually start my talks much sooner, but this is just too beautiful to not take a picture of. And the lighting is really good. The lighting is not always this good. And I love this ground cover here. It almost looks like moss from a distance, but it's definitely not moss. I'll be taking some pictures, some still pictures of this area. So I'm going to sit over here and just do my talk. Okay, I'm going to start off by saying that life begins at ejaculation, with ejaculation. Now I want to thank all of you child-free men out there for being responsible. A double thanks to those who are vasectomized. All fathers, all biological fathers, are narcissists. Lack of shame and accountability is a hallmark of narcissism. The fact that any father didn't spare his offspring from life is shameful. But perhaps they contribute only sperm by way of ejaculation and orgasm to the reproductive process that makes them so casual about sex and its consequences. They ignite the pregnancy, and the female has a long, uncomfortable pregnancy, painful, risky, and life-threatening delivery, and yet more pain and sleeplessness from breastfeeding. Males can impregnate many women at a time. The majority of them are very fertile during their entire adult lives, unlike women, so their child-free status could change even during their senior years. Burt Bacharach, the famous singer, pianist, and composer, American, was 65 when he had his son Oliver. And something of interest is that his first child with Angie Dickinson was autistic. She was 3 months premature and later abused and killed her pet mice by throwing them against the wall. She went on to later commit suicide by nitrous oxide and while covering her face with a bag, or her head with a bag. Rod Stewart has 8 children by different women. He married 3 different times. But the singer's 56-year-old daughter was not acknowledged by him because she was born to a 17-year-old girlfriend of Stewart's, and she was given up for adoption. Since there has been a reconciliation, he has accepted his daughter, and they are in each other's lives. Stewart's youngest child, a son named Aiden, who was born after 3 rounds of IVF treatment just before Penny, his wife, turned 40. Stewart says he can't have any more kids. The office is closed. But he wants to tour until he's 90. One of my foreign internet friends today wrote on my wall, he goes, anyone who has a kid is a sadist. And I'm sure a masochist as well. And he should know. He is a father. America's founding father, George Washington, was child-free, but only due to impotency. So technically, he was childless and wanted biological children with Martha, who had 2 prior children from her deceased husband. Now, I'm going to mention some child-free celebrities. We're going to start with Jay Leno. Everybody loves Jay Leno. Yeah. Kevin Spacey. You know what? I do want to mention, these are child-free celebrities so far. These are male celebrities who are child-free so far. So anybody's child-free status could change. Even a woman who's menopausal can actually carry a child with fertility treatments as long as she's got a uterus. So, but for males, it's you know, it's a little more difficult to determine whether they are child-free or whether they will be child-free for life. So, in addition to Jay Leno and Kevin Spacey, we have Christopher Walken, Alan Rickman, Bill Maher, Ricky Gervais, Doug Stanhope, Moby, Sam Rockwell, Leonardo DiCaprio, Steve O, and Rob Zombie. I'm sure there are a few more males that I could add to this list, but there really wasn't many that me and my Facebook friends could come up with, unfortunately. So, in wrapping up here, I want to warn any biological male that if you aren't confirmed sterile or have had a vasectomy, then you are at risk of being a father or even oopsed. And oopsed means a woman who wanted your child and either pretended that she was on birth control and really wasn't, or maybe was deceitful about her birth control practices or her fertility. That's what oops means. And I have actually heard of women who have told men that they could not get pregnant. Now, some women think that they cannot get pregnant just because, you know, they've had unprotected sex for a couple of years or 5 years. I've even heard a male tell me that. One male who was the father of a 4-year-old a disabled child, he told me for 10 years or so he never used protection. And he always thought that he couldn't bear children. Well, he got pregnant with a woman who was an addict. And it was like her 3rd child out of wedlock. And now he has to pay child support on that child. And he was very surprised, to say the least. So, males, if you are not vasectomized or confirmed sterile, you can get someone pregnant. Unless you have proof, solid proof, a doctor's written notice or medical records that the woman you are with cannot get pregnant, consider yourself a father. Because you know, males are fertile almost every day of their lives. And women are not, and men can have children by many women, and through many different marriages and girlfriends and relationships, and they've been known to father children late into their 80s. So, males, you are very, very fertile. Way more fertile than females could ever be. So please, take matters into your hands. Prevent yourself from being oopsed or, quote, tricked, unquote. I don't really believe in the word tricked. And the reason is because if you are not vasectomized or are wearing a condom, it's impossible to be tricked because you did not protect yourself. And you are the fertile one who ignites the pregnancy, right? Women cannot get pregnant on their own. And a male receives the final orgasm that ignites the pregnancy. And it's that orgasm that causes the pregnancy. And the majority of most impregnated women never got an orgasm. So those are just the little facts over there. So to wrap this up finally, if you are here, it's because your father didn't save you from life, and he didn't spare you from life. And so my catchphrase for today is hashtag pull out. And that's just a little comical there, because I know the withdrawal method is not that fail-proof. It does have its limitations, but it has been used throughout the centuries, and I'm sure it prevented some births, and it's certainly better than nothing. Hashtag pull out. Oh, I do want to say something before I go, and this is to you fathers who have impregnated a woman or women and have stood around to take care of your offspring, your children. I want to thank you for doing so, because we all know, and Tyler, this goes for you. Shout out to Tyler. We all know those deadbeat dads, and they are numerous. Deadbeat dads who don't support their children, or who are addicted to substances and cannot hold jobs, and even go on to marry other women after they've divorced their first wife and abandon those children, and they go on to have more children with another woman. So everybody knows a slew of deadbeat dads, and it's really unfortunate because women are left holding the bag. Women are left to take care of the young that they were impregnated with, and that they feel compelled to take care of and to be responsible for. So I am deeply grateful to any men who have stood around to take care of their own children, support them financially, emotionally, and who didn't walk away. Because men who walk away are cowards. I did not grow up with a deadbeat dad. I had a responsible dad, a professionally educated. So I did not have that scenario growing up, and I really couldn't fathom it. I think I would feel so betrayed if my father had done that. But again, my parents were married. They were married a couple of years before I came along, and I was the firstborn. So I think my dad it was unfathomable to him to even consider leaving. I mean, it just wasn't a possibility. So I do hold men in very high regard when they stood around to care for their children, regardless of the circumstances. I would rather them have not bred. I would rather them have protected the woman and the future children from being harmed. But now that they are into existence, they need upkeep, they need caretaking, they need finances, they need resources, they need love, they need attention. And for that, I'm grateful. So I'm going to taper off here by by thanking the progenitors, the dads who do stick around to raise their offspring. And I do want to thank my friend. I won't mention his name, but he had a mistaken pregnancy, or it certainly was not deliberate. And he's very involved with his child, and he's raising his son to be an antinatalist. So that's pretty unique of a scenario. I think the child is about a little over 2 years old right now. And he's a really cute kid, by the way. As cute as kids can be, huh? But he's raising him very young to be an antinatalist and to be responsible. Yeah. And he is the one who said that anyone with a kid is a sadist. And Child Free Diane says anyone with a kid is a narcissist. Right? Right, girl? It's hot, isn't it? It's hot even in the shade. And this is the Northeast, huh? Could you imagine Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, Alabama, the Deep South, or the Midwest, Missouri, Chicago. Oh God, Chicago is miserable in the summer. But I think one of the hottest places I was ever been, I was at a roller skating, world class roller skating competition. I believe it was in August. And Lincoln, Nebraska. Oh boy. That was so memorably disgustingly humid. It was unbearable. So I don't know if Lincoln, Nebraska just had a really bad week when we were there, but the Midwest can be awfully, awfully hot. So thank goodness for air conditioning. I love air conditioning. It's such a relief. I can't imagine, these previous generations. Well, like this person here, Margaret Caton. I mean, most of her life, she didn't even have air conditioning. I don't know what kept civilization going, to tell you the truth. I'm going to be doing a video on gender and the differences in gender, and it's been kind of difficult to compose because I'm not a guy, and I've actually solicited some advice and some commentary from males, but I'm trying to do a video on each gender and the difficulty in being either one, and why either gender is not worth reproducing. So I don't know what kept civilization going, because men had to work so hard to toil the land. There was a lot of suffering with wars and with construction and roads and vehicular issues, and that was all, on the backs of men. Of course, women suffered greatly. They did not have a choice in childbearing. They were repeatedly impregnated, and there weren't exactly abortions in the late 1800s. And a lot of women died in childbirth. I need to get some figures on that, some statistics. Oh, there's a hole over here. It must be some kind of animal. Oh, this is pretty cool. We're definitely going to have to come back here. Maybe in the fall when it's more comfortable and the trees are changing color. Oh, I love moss. There's some moss here. So this could be a gopher or a groundhog burrowing deep. I don't think a rabbit could dig a hole that deep. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I wish I had like a scope just to see down there. There might be some little babies. Oh, interesting. These are, no, I thought it was berries. It's not. I thought it was dewberries, but it's not. In the South, there's a lot of wild berries. They were called dewberries. There's a lot of them in Texas. And you're lucky if you can find a really big patch, because sometimes they're really prolific. I wonder how many of my viewers are still with me. I usually don't do videos this long. But being Father's Day, I really had to come up with, you know, a good video. And I did my write-up about 2 weeks ago, and I added to it. And then today, I totally revamped the talk. Now, these are some old ones here. At least you can read them. Our darling George Hanneman, November 2nd, 1895, July 28, 1898. So there's the shelter over there with the Father's Day party. I wanted a little more peace and quiet, but I think I got a really good video tape today. And I welcome all your comments. Please comment. Please give me suggestions. And some of your suggestions I've actually put in a list to do. I have a file of already composed videos and downloaded or uploaded. I like feathers too. Here's a cool feather. Look at that. Really cute. I don't know what I'll do with them, but I do have a collection of feathers. Back to your comments. So I do listen to your comments, and sometimes I just don't know how to develop an article, or I need more research. And then either just life issues or travel interferes with composing them. And you know, if you give me something to talk about, if you give me a topic to talk about, and I haven't done it yet, please remind me. Just send me some information, or I can send you my email. Well, here's the email address. It's doglicenseorg@hotmail.com. And license is spelled the American way, not the British way. Oh boy. Look at all the balloons over there. Celebrating Father's Day. I don't celebrate Father's Day. Oh no, that's a graduation. That's a graduation party. So this is like doubly a natalist weekend. Because the park is not usually this busy, and it is a bit warm, so this is where I did my video a year or two ago. These are really pretty. I really like these tombstones in relief. It's quite ornate. And the letters are very substantial. Oh, I'm sure it's granite. So, if that's the mother and father, then they had, looks like they had 4 children. And that's 4 too many, huh? Because everybody is going to end up dead. Every father's child is going to end up dead. Every parent, biological parent, any parent, any parent's children are going to age, suffer, catch disease, and die. The pretty girl. So that's the end of my video. We're going to go home and go into the air conditioning house. Aren't you, baby girl? This is Child Free Diane, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. You ready to go? Huh? You ready to go? Come on. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Good. Good girl.